Have you ever stepped into a conversation, a workplace, or even a family gathering and felt an invisible chill, as if your presence alone sparked unease? The air grows heavy, eyes flicker with judgment, yet no one says a word. This silent resentment, subtle but sharp, often has little to do with your actions and everything to do with what you unknowingly represent. Welcome to Stoic Pulse, where we uncover the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy to navigate life's challenges with clarity and strength. Today we'll explore 9 hidden reasons why people may secretly resent you, not for who you are, but for the truths you reflect in their lives. Drawing from the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, we'll reveal how these silent tensions arise and how Stoic principles can guide you to rise above them. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This journey isn't about changing others' perceptions, but mastering your own. Staying grounded in virtue despite unspoken hostility. Whether it's envy over your bold choices, like pursuing a passion over a conventional path, or discomfort with your unshakable values. These reasons often mirror others' inner struggles, not your flaws. Join me as we unpack these insights, each rooted in Stoic wisdom, to transform how you see yourself and others. If this resonates, subscribe to Stoic Pulse for more Stoic rules and life lessons to live with purpose and peace. Comment "inner peace" below to mark this moment of reflection, and let's begin this Stoic exploration together. Reason 1. The influence of social expectations. Now that we've set the stage, let's dive into the first hidden reason why someone might secretly resent you. The influence of social expectations. In a world that often demands conformity, your choice to walk a different path can stir unease in others, not because you've wronged them, but because your life challenges the norms they've accepted without question. This isn't about overt rebellion. It's about the quiet power of living authentically, which can feel like a confrontation to those tethered to society's script. Stoic philosophy, as taught by Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, offers us the wisdom to navigate this tension with clarity and strength, ensuring we remain true to ourselves without being swayed by others' discomfort. Imagine you've chosen to leave a high-paying corporate job to start a small organic farm, seeking a life of simplicity and purpose. Your family or friends, raised in a culture that equates success with wealth and status, might smile politely but harbor silent disapproval. Your decision doesn't just challenge their expectations. It holds a mirror to the choices they've made, perhaps out of fear or habit. They may not say it aloud, but your path feels like a judgment on their own, as if your pursuit of meaning suggests their lives lack it. This discomfort isn't personal, it's structural. When you defy what's normal, whether it's prioritizing personal growth over a predictable career or choosing solitude over societal pressures, you become a disruption. As Seneca reminds us, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. Those who resent you may not lack material wealth, but the courage to question the path they've been told to follow. This resentment often manifests subtly. A colleague might make a snide remark about your unrealistic dreams. A friend might withdraw, unable to reconcile your choices with their worldview. These reactions aren't about you, but about what your authenticity reveals, the fragility of lives built on unexamined traditions. Society often teaches us to fear difference, to cling to the familiar, even when it stifles our soul. When you choose otherwise, living by your values, not the crowd's, you unsettle those who've never dared to stray. Your presence becomes a quiet confrontation, not because you sought conflict, but because your truth forces others to face their own compromises. Stoic wisdom offers a shield against this silent hostility. Epictetus teaches, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You cannot control others' discomfort, but you can control your response. Instead of shrinking to fit their expectations, stand firm in your integrity. If you've chosen a life aligned with your principles, whether it's embracing minimalism, pursuing a creative passion, or rejecting societal milestones like marriage by a certain age, don't apologize for it. Your path is yours, and Stoic philosophy reminds us that true freedom lies in living according to reason and virtue, not external approval. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." When others resent your choices, their judgment reflects their inner struggle, not your worth. This doesn't mean you should flaunt your differences or dismiss others' perspectives. Stoicism calls for humility, not arrogance. Recognize that those who resent you are often trapped by their own fears. Fear of change, fear of judgment, or fear of facing their own unfulfilled desires. Respond with compassion, but don't compromise your truth to ease their discomfort. Set boundaries when their disapproval turns toxic, perhaps in the form of passive-aggressive comments or attempts to undermine your choices. You might say, "I respect your path, but this is mine." Such clarity preserves your peace while offering others a chance to reflect. Living authentically in a world that prizes conformity is a quiet act of courage. It's not about proving others wrong, but about proving to yourself that you can live by your own compass. Some will resent you for it, not because you're misguided, but because you remind them of the freedom they've yet to claim. Seneca's words ring true. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Let their resentment be a reminder of your commitment to virtue, not a reason to doubt it. As we move forward on this Stoic journey, know that social expectations will always press against you. But with the wisdom of Stoic Pulse, you can walk your path with quiet confidence, unshaken by the silent judgments of others. If this resonates, subscribe to Stoic Pulse for more Stoic rules to live with purpose and peace. Let's continue uncovering the hidden reasons behind resentment, grounded in the timeless teachings of Stoicism. Reason 2, lack of recognition. As we move deeper into our Stoic exploration of why people may secretly resent you, we shift from the weight of societal expectations to a quieter yet equally potent force, the lack of recognition. In a world where visibility often feels like validation, being overlooked can carve a silent wound in the heart. When someone's efforts, sacrifices, or quiet dedication go unnoticed, it can fester into bitterness, not just toward their circumstances, but toward those who seem to shine in the spotlight. Through the lens of Stoic philosophy, as taught by Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, we'll uncover why this unseen pain sparks resentment and how you can navigate it with wisdom, staying true to your path while fostering compassion. Picture a volunteer at a community center, tirelessly organizing events, cleaning up after others, and supporting everyone's needs. Week after week, they pour their heart into their work, yet their name is never mentioned in praise. Meanwhile, another volunteer, perhaps you, is celebrated for a single visible contribution, like leading a successful fundraiser. To the unnoticed volunteer, your recognition feels like a spotlight on their invisibility. They don't speak their frustration, but their warmth fades, replaced by subtle distance or sharp remarks. This resentment isn't about your actions. It's about what your moment of acknowledgement represents, the validation they crave but never receive. Epictetus reminds us, you become what you give your attention to. When someone feels ignored, their focus shifts from their own contributions to the applause others receive, and that shift breeds quiet hostility. This lack of recognition taps into a deep human need to be seen, to matter. When that need goes unmet, it doesn't vanish. It transforms into envy or disdain, especially toward those who appear to have what the overlooked person seeks. The danger lies in how this bitterness grows silently. A coworker who stays late to perfect a project, only to see another praised, might begin to undermine your success. A friend who feels their loyalty goes unacknowledged might withdraw when you share your achievements. These reactions aren't always about malice. They stem from a wound that festers in the absence of affirmation. Marcus Aurelius offers clarity here. The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them knows anything about the subject. The Stoic understands that external recognition is fleeting and subjective. What one person sees as praise, another sees as neglect. True worth lies in your virtue, not the applause you receive. Yet this doesn't mean you should ignore others' need for acknowledgement. Stoicism teaches compassion alongside self-mastery. A simple word of gratitude, a thank you for a colleague's late-night work, or a nod to a friend's quiet support, can diffuse resentment before it takes root. But when others cling to their bitterness, refusing to see beyond their own pain, you are not obligated to fix it. Seneca warns, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Their resentment is often less about your spotlight and more about the stories they tell themselves. That they're unseen, unvalued, or inadequate. As a Stoic, you can choose to offer kindness without sacrificing your peace. You might acknowledge their efforts openly, but you don't dim your own light to ease their discomfort. This dynamic requires balance. You're not responsible for filling someone else's emotional void, nor should you feel guilt for being recognized. Epictetus teaches, there is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. You cannot control who notices whom, but you can control your response. When resentment surfaces, respond with clarity. Continue acting with integrity. Offer praise where it's due, and set boundaries if bitterness turns toxic. If a colleague's envy becomes sabotage, calmly address it or distance yourself. If a friend's coldness persists, offer a conversation, but don't beg for their approval. Your role is to live virtuously, not to chase universal acceptance. The Stoic path is one of inner freedom. When others resent you for the recognition you receive, see it as a reflection of their unmet needs, not your failure. Keep showing up with excellence, even when it goes unseen. Your character, not the crowd's applause, defines your worth. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Let their resentment pass like a cloud and anchor yourself in purpose. If this wisdom resonates, subscribe to Stoic Pulse for more Stoic rules to live with clarity and strength. Let's continue this journey, exploring the next hidden reason behind silent resentment. Reason 3, competition or rivalry. Having explored how the sting of being unseen can fuel resentment, we now turn to another subtle yet powerful force, competition or rivalry. What begins as a spark of motivation to grow alongside others can, when tangled with ego or insecurity, ignite into a quiet fire of hostility. When someone's drive to excel shifts from self-improvement to outshining you, their admiration can sour into envy, and their support into silent sabotage. This isn't the healthy competition that sharpens us. It's the darker rivalry that poisons connection. Through the Stoic wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, we'll uncover why this happens and how to rise above it, staying anchored in your own path with grace and purpose, as Stoic Pulse guides us to live with clarity. Imagine you and a friend join a local art class, both eager to develop your skills. You pour yourself into your craft, and your paintings start earning praise from the instructor. Your friend who once cheered you on begins to grow distant. Their compliments turn backhanded. That's nice, but it's not really my style. Or they skip your exhibitions altogether. Your success, rather than inspiring them, feels like a personal slight. This isn't about your art, it's about what your progress reflects. Their own doubts about their talent or effort. Competition, when healthy, lifts everyone. But when it becomes rivalry, it's no longer about creating better work. It's about proving they're better than you. Epictetus teaches, the only competition worth engaging in is with the self, to be better today than you were yesterday. When someone loses sight of this, their focus shifts from growth to resentment, and you become the target of their unspoken war. This shift is subtle but corrosive. Rivalry doesn't always announce itself with bold confrontation. It hides in small slights, a dismissive tone, a refusal to celebrate your wins, or subtle attempts to undermine you, like questioning your technique in front of others. These actions stem from a belief that your success diminishes theirs, a zero-sum game where only one can shine. Marcus Aurelius warns, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. The Stoic doesn't retaliate or engage in this silent battle. Instead, you focus on your own principles, letting your actions speak louder than their projections. Their resentment isn't about your paintings or your progress. It's about what your achievements reveal, their fear of falling short, their struggle to define their own worth. Stoicism offers a clear path through this tension. You cannot control how others measure themselves against you, but you can control your response. Don't dim your efforts to ease their discomfort, nor fuel their rivalry with pride. Instead, embody humility and purpose. If your friend's coldness persists, you might invite them to collaborate on a project, showing their space for both to grow. But if their rivalry turns toxic, perhaps spreading doubts about your work's originality, set boundaries without bitterness. Seneca reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your strength lies in pursuing excellence for its own sake, not to outshine others. By focusing on your own growth, you disarm rivalry's power, turning competition back into a personal quest for virtue. This approach isn't passive, it's disciplined. Recognizing that their hostility stems from insecurity allows you to respond with compassion, not conflict. You might acknowledge their efforts, fostering goodwill, but you don't sacrifice your path to appease them. If their rivalry escalates, Stoicism teaches detachment. Let their actions pass like a breeze, knowing their struggle is theirs, not yours. Epictetus advises, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you refuse to engage in their silent war, you reclaim your peace. Your success isn't a threat, it's a testament to your discipline. Let it inspire those ready to grow, and let go of those who choose resentment over reflection. In a world obsessed with comparison, Stoic Pulse reminds us that true victory is self-mastery. When rivalry casts you as the enemy, stand tall, paint boldly, and pursue your path with integrity. Their resentment is a shadow of their doubts, not a reflection of your worth. Subscribe to Stoic Pulse for more Stoic rules to navigate life's challenges with clarity and calm. As we continue this journey, we'll uncover the next hidden reason why resentment simmers beneath the surface. Guided by the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Reason 4, personal insecurities and projection. As we journey deeper into the hidden currents of resentment, having uncovered how rivalry can poison connection, we now turn to a force that strikes even closer to the heart. Personal insecurities and projection. When someone grapples with their own doubts or unhealed wounds, your presence, your confidence, your clarity can become a mirror they'd rather shatter than face. Instead of confronting their inner turmoil, they project it onto you, turning their discomfort into silent hostility. This isn't about what you've done, it's about what you represent to their fragile sense of self. Guided by the Stoic wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, We'll explore why this happens and how to respond with compassion and strength, as Stoic Pulse teaches us to live with unwavering integrity. Consider a scenario where you've recently embraced a healthier lifestyle, running daily, eating mindfully, radiating energy. A close acquaintance, struggling with their own self-image, begins to grow cold. They might make snide comments about your obsession with fitness or dismiss your progress as just a phase. Their words sting, not because you've wronged them, but because your transformation highlights their own unresolved insecurities. Perhaps their hesitation to change or their fear of failure. This is projection at its core. Their inner conflict becomes an external attack. Seneca reminds us, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Their resentment isn't about your runs or your diet. It's about what your discipline reflects, their own unaddressed struggles. Instead of facing their doubts, they redirect their discomfort, casting you as the source of their unease. This dynamic is subtle but devastating. Projection doesn't always look like open hostility. It hides in passive-aggressive jabs, like a backhanded compliment about your new look, or in their sudden withdrawal when you share your progress. It's not a conscious attack, but a reflex, born from their inability to confront their own fears. Your confidence becomes a spotlight on their self-doubt, and rather than grow, they recoil. Marcus Aurelius offers guidance. If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change. But if they simply criticize without clarity, I will hold to my path. As a Stoic, you're not here to absorb their projections or shrink to ease their pain. Your task is to walk your path with integrity, knowing their resentment reflects their battle, not your worth. Stoicism teaches us to respond with both compassion and boundaries. You might acknowledge their struggle, perhaps by inviting them to join you on a walk, showing there's space for growth without judgment. But if their projections turn toxic, like spreading doubts about your motives, you must protect your peace. Epictetus advises, there is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. You cannot fix their insecurities, but you can choose how to respond. With clarity, not defensiveness. With kindness, not retaliation. If their comments persist, a calm boundary, I'm focused on my health, and I'd love to support you, but let's keep this positive, preserves your serenity while offering them a chance to reflect. This balance is the Stoic way. Understanding that their hostility stems from pain allows you to depersonalize it. You stop seeing their criticism as a verdict on your worth and recognize it as a cry from their unhealed wounds. This shift doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. Stoicism is principled, not passive. You can set firm boundaries, distancing yourself if their negativity drains you, while still holding compassion. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your strength lies in continuing your journey, whether it's running miles or chasing dreams, without letting their projections dim your light. In a world where insecurities run deep, Stoic Pulse offers the tools to rise above. When someone projects their doubts onto you, let it be a reminder to stay anchored in your truth. Their resentment is not your burden, it's their mirror to face. Keep shining, not to prove them wrong, but to prove to yourself that virtue endures. Subscribe to Stoic Pulse for more Stoic rules to navigate life's challenges with resilience and clarity. As we continue this journey, we'll uncover the next hidden reason why others may turn against you, guided by the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Reason 5. Differences in fundamental values and beliefs. As we delve deeper into the silent forces that breed resentment, having seen how personal insecurities can project hostility onto us, we now turn to a subtler but equally potent source. Differences in fundamental values and beliefs. Your way of life, your priorities, your ethics, can unsettle others, not because you've wronged them, but because you embody a worldview that challenges their own. When your values stand in contrast to theirs, some perceive it not as a difference, but as a quiet rebuke, sparking resentment that simmers beneath the surface. Guided by the Stoic wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, we'll explore why this clash occurs and how to navigate it with dignity and resilience, as Stoic Pulse teaches us to live authentically in a divided world. Imagine you've chosen to live with radical transparency, always speaking the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. At a family gathering, you openly discuss your decision to prioritize personal growth over chasing promotions, while others cling to traditional markers of success like titles or wealth. Your cousin, who's built their life around climbing the corporate ladder, grows curt, their smiles tight. They don't argue outright, but their subtle jabs, "must be nice to not care about money," reveal a deeper discomfort. Your values don't just differ, they feel like a mirror reflecting their unexamined choices. This isn't about right or wrong, it's about how your authenticity forces them to confront their own compromises. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Their resentment stems from what your truth represents, a challenge to the beliefs they have accepted without question. This tension arises because people are rarely threatened by facts. They're threatened by what those facts suggest about their identity. When your life, whether it's choosing honesty over tact, minimalism over materialism, or independence over conformity, stands in contrast to theirs, it can feel like a judgment. This clash doesn't require words. Your presence alone can stir unease. A friend might distance themselves when your commitment to ethical living highlights their shortcuts. A colleague might bristle when your calm conviction exposes their reliance on external validation. Marcus Aurelius offers clarity. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. As a Stoic, you're not here to force others to align with your values, nor to apologize for them. Your task is to live them fully, with humility, not pride. Stoicism teaches us to navigate these differences with grace. You don't need to prove your worldview superior or convince others to adopt it. Instead, recognize that their beliefs, shaped by upbringing or fear, are as real to them as yours are to you. Responding with contempt only fuels division. Seneca advises, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Their resentment is often less about your values and more about the discomfort of questioning their own. You might invite dialogue, calmly sharing why you prioritize truth over comfort, but accept that some will cling to their narrative. If their hostility grows, perhaps in dismissive remarks or attempts to belittle your choices, set boundaries without bitterness. A simple, I value our differences, but let's respect each other's paths, preserves your peace while leaving the door open for understanding. Not all gaps can be bridged. When your values isolate you, Stoicism reminds you that integrity is worth more than acceptance. Epictetus teaches, you become what you give your attention to. Focus on embodying your principles, not winning approval. Some will resent you because your life challenges their comfort, but that's a reflection of their struggle, not your failure. Live your truth gently but unapologetically, knowing that difference breeds growth, not just conflict. In a world quick to judge and slow to understand, your commitment to your values is a quiet revolution. Marcus Aurelius wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Let their resentment pass and anchor yourself in virtue. Stoic Pulse guides us to embrace our truth, even when it divides. When your values spark silent hostility, stand firm, not to prove others wrong, but to prove to yourself that authenticity endures. Subscribe to Stoic Pulse for more Stoic rules to live with purpose and resilience. As we continue this journey, we'll uncover the next hidden reason why others may turn against you, guided by the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Reason 6. Lack of empathy and understanding. As we continue our Stoic journey, having seen how differing values can spark silent resentment, we now turn to a quieter but equally potent force: the lack of empathy and understanding. When others fail to step into your perspective, they misread your intentions, turning neutral actions into perceived slights. A moment of focus becomes arrogance. A boundary becomes rejection. This misperception breeds hostility, not because you've wronged them, but because they lack the emotional clarity to see you as you are. Through the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, we'll explore why this disconnect fuels resentment and how to respond with poise and resilience, as Stoic Pulse guides us to live with compassion and inner strength. Picture yourself in a study group, diligently preparing for an exam. You're focused, declining casual chatter to stay on task. A group member, craving connection, interprets your concentration as aloofness. Over time, their tone sharpens, their comments laced with irritation. You're too serious about this. They don't ask about your stress or your reasons. They assume the worst, building a narrative that paints you as distant or superior. This isn't about your study habits. It's about their inability to imagine your perspective. Their lack of empathy transforms your focus into a personal affront, and resentment takes root. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you always own the option of having no opinion. Their judgment is not your truth. It's a reflection of their limited capacity to understand. This lack of empathy creates invisible walls. Without the willingness to see beyond their own lens, others reduce your actions to labels. A quiet moment becomes arrogance. A firm decision becomes hostility. This misinterpretation grows because they don't pause to question their assumptions. Epictetus teaches, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Their resentment is less about your behavior and more about their failure to perceive your context, your pressures, your values, your struggles. In their mind, you become the villain in a story you didn't write, and their coldness, perhaps a pointed silence or a dismissive glance, feels like hate. This dynamic is subtle, often unfolding in small moments. An unanswered invitation misread as rejection, or a serious expression taken as disdain. Stoicism offers a path through this fog. You cannot force others to empathize, but you can control your response. Instead of absorbing their misjudgments, approach them with clarity. You might gently clarify your intentions. I was focused on the exam, not trying to seem distant. Inviting understanding without defensiveness. But some will cling to their narrative, preferring assumptions over truth. Seneca advises, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Their hostility stems from their own emotional rigidity, not your actions. In these moments, Stoicism calls for compassion without self-sacrifice. Recognize their limitation as a human struggle, not a verdict on your worth. If their coldness persists, set boundaries, perhaps limiting interactions to study-related matters without bitterness. This balance is the Stoic way, empathy for others, but protection for your peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. When someone resents you for their own misperceptions, let it pass like a cloud. You don't need to explain yourself to those committed to misunderstanding. Instead, focus on your own clarity, communicate with presence, act with integrity, and let your character speak louder than their assumptions. If they're open, a single conversation might dissolve the tension. If not, release the need to be understood, knowing their judgment reflects their inner world, not yours. Living with Stoic clarity means embracing your truth, even when others misread it. Their lack of empathy is not your burden, it's a signal of their own emotional limits. Keep showing up with purpose, whether studying for an exam or pursuing your goals, undeterred by those who cannot see you clearly. Stoic Pulse reminds us that true strength lies in staying centered, offering understanding where possible, but never compromising your peace. Subscribe to Stoic Pulse for more Stoic rules to navigate life's challenges with resilience and wisdom. As we move forward, we'll uncover the next hidden reason why others may harbor silent resentment, guided by the timeless teachings of Stoicism. Reason 7: the influence of rumors and gossip. As we journey further into the silent currents of resentment, having explored how a lack of empathy can twist perceptions, we now confront a force that erodes trust in the shadows: the influence of rumors and gossip. Unlike open conflict, gossip whispers, spreading distorted versions of your truth that cast you as a villain in stories you never told. These tales, often embellished or entirely false, ignite resentment in others who judge you without seeking the facts. Guided by the Stoic wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, we'll uncover why gossip fuels silent hostility and how to rise above it with unshakable integrity, as Stoic Pulse teaches us to anchor ourselves in virtue amidst life's noise. Imagine you've recently started a small business, pouring your heart into building a community-focused cafe. A rumor spreads among local competitors that you're cutting corners to undercut their prices. Suddenly, a regular customer grows distant, their friendly chats replaced by curt nods. Another business owner, once cordial, now avoids you at local events. The rumor, born from a competitor's insecurity, paints you as ruthless, and those who hear it begin to resent you, not for what you've done, but for the narrative they've bought into. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Their resentment is rooted in a fiction, not your actions, yet its impact feels all too real. Gossip thrives not because it's true, but because it's compelling. It feeds on biases and insecurities, spreading faster than truth ever could. A single whispered doubt about your motives, your success, or your character mutates with each retelling, turning you into a caricature. People believe these stories because they align with their doubts or fears, like the fear that your cafe's success threatens their own. This makes gossip dangerous. It doesn't need evidence, only emotion. The pain of being its target lies in defending yourself against a version of you that doesn't exist. You're not fighting for truth, you're fighting through fog. Epictetus teaches, you become what you give your attention to. The Stoic doesn't chase every rumor or correct every falsehood. That's a race without end. Instead, you focus on your character, letting your actions speak louder than whispers. Stoicism offers a shield against this silent assault. You cannot silence gossip, but you can choose not to let it disturb your peace. Continue running your cafe with integrity, serving customers with care, being transparent about your practices. Your consistency becomes your defense. When faced with someone swayed by rumors, respond with clarity, not desperation. You might calmly address the customer's distance. I've noticed you seem hesitant. Can we talk about it? This invites truth without begging for approval, but some will cling to the story they've heard, unwilling to question it. Seneca advises, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Their belief in the rumor is their burden, not yours. If their hostility persists, perhaps in snide comments or deliberate avoidance, set boundaries without malice, perhaps limiting interactions to professional exchanges. This approach is not passive, it's disciplined. By refusing to engage in the cycle of gossip, you reclaim your power. Your virtue, your commitment to fairness, honesty, and purpose is untouchable by lies. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Let your thoughts be of integrity, not the need to prove yourself. Time and truth are your allies. While gossip moves quickly, your character moves deeply, reaching those who value authenticity. Those swayed by rumors were never truly yours to lose, and those who know you will see through the noise. Stoic Pulse reminds us that in a world of whispers, your silence, rooted in virtue, is your strength. When gossip casts you as the enemy, keep building, keep serving, keep living your truth. Their resentment is a shadow, not your reality. Subscribe to Stoic Pulse for more Stoic rules to navigate life's challenges with clarity and resilience. As we continue this journey, we'll uncover the next hidden reason why others may harbor silent resentment. Guided by the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Reason 8. Misunderstandings and ineffective communication. Having unraveled how gossip weaves distorted narratives that fuel resentment, we now turn to a quieter, yet equally insidious force: misunderstandings and ineffective communication. A single misread gesture, a poorly chosen word, or an unintended tone can spark a rift, transforming neutral intentions into perceived slights. When communication falters, not just in what's said, but in how it's received, silent tensions grow, building walls where bridges could have stood. Guided by the Stoic wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, we'll explore why these missteps ignite resentment and how to navigate them with clarity and calm, as Stoic Pulse teaches us to foster harmony through disciplined expression and understanding. Imagine you're part of a book club, passionately discussing a novel's themes. In your enthusiasm, you interrupt a fellow member to share a point, not noticing their frustration. Later, they grow distant, their responses clipped, their warmth replaced by a subtle edge. They've interpreted your interruption as disrespect, assuming you value your voice over theirs. You meant to engage, not dismiss, but the misalignment festers. Without clarification, they rewrite your story in their mind. You're overbearing, self-important. This misunderstanding, small at first, becomes a seed of resentment, sprouting in their silence. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. Their perception of your actions, not the actions themselves, shapes their hostility. Misunderstandings thrive in the gap between intent and interpretation. A hurried email, a distracted nod, or an enthusiastic interruption can be misread as arrogance or indifference. When others don't pause to question their assumptions, they build narratives that cast you as the antagonist. This isn't always intentional, it's human. People cling to their perceptions for coherence, preferring certainty over curiosity. Epictetus teaches, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Their resentment grows not from your intent, but from their story of it, a story you didn't write but must now navigate. The pain lies in its quiet spread, a friend's coldness, a colleague's mistrust, all rooted in a moment you didn't even notice. Stoicism offers a path through this fog of miscommunication. You cannot control how others interpret you, but you can control your clarity and response. Seek to understand the disconnect, perhaps by saying, "I noticed you seemed upset after the book club. Did I come across the wrong way?" This invites dialogue without defensiveness, opening a door to clarity. Seneca advises, you must learn to listen as well as to speak. Listening with presence, speaking with care, and checking assumptions can prevent small sparks from becoming fires. But not everyone will meet you in this space. Some hold their narratives tightly, unwilling to question their version of you. In these moments, Stoicism teaches acceptance. You cannot force understanding where pride or pain blocks the way. This balance is key. Respond with humility, not guilt. If their resentment persists, perhaps they dismiss your attempts to clarify or continue to misjudge you. Set boundaries without malice. You might limit discussions to neutral topics, preserving your peace while leaving room for future connection. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your strength lies in staying true to your intent, communicating with precision, and releasing the need to correct every misperception." Their resentment is their burden, not your failure. By focusing on your own clarity, speaking thoughtfully, listening actively, you embody the Stoic virtue of wisdom, even when others misread you. In a world quick to assume and slow to ask, Stoic Pulse reminds us that clarity is an act of courage. When misunderstandings breed silent hostility, keep speaking your truth with care, not to win approval, but to honor your integrity. Their misjudgments are not your story to rewrite. Continue engaging, continue learning, continue living with purpose. Seneca's words echo, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Let their misconceptions fade and anchor yourself in the truth of who you are. Subscribe to Stoic Pulse for more Stoic rules to navigate life's challenges with resilience and wisdom. As we near the end of this journey, we'll uncover the final hidden reason why others may resent you. Guided by the timeless teachings of Stoicism. Reason 9, envy and jealousy. As we approach the culmination of our Stoic exploration, having unraveled how misunderstandings can sow seeds of resentment, we now face one of the most potent forces behind silent hostility: envy and jealousy. This corrosive emotion, often cloaked in politeness or indifference, transforms admiration into contempt when your success highlights another's unfulfilled desires. Envy doesn't shout, it simmers, turning your light into a mirror that others resent for what it reveals about themselves. Guided by the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, we'll uncover why envy breeds quiet hatred and how to rise above it with poise and purpose, as Stoic Pulse teaches us to anchor our lives in virtue, undeterred by others' shadows. Picture yourself launching a podcast, pouring your passion into sharing meaningful stories. It gains traction, earning praise from listeners and local media. A longtime friend who's dreamed of starting their own creative project but never took the leap begins to pull away. Their once warm texts turn curt, their congratulations tinged with sarcasm. Must be nice to have all that time. This isn't about your podcast. It's about what your success reflects. Their own hesitation, their fear of failure. Envy turns their unfulfilled aspirations into resentment, casting you as a reminder of what they lack. Epictetus reminds us, there is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. Their envy is not your burden. It's a reflection of their inner struggle, not your actions. Envy's power lies in its silence. It doesn't confront, it undermines. A subtle jab, a dismissive glance, or a refusal to engage. These are its weapons. Your friend might downplay your achievement, hinting it's just luck, or spread doubts about your authenticity. This hostility stings because it's rarely open, leaving you questioning what you did wrong. Marcus Aurelius offers clarity. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. As a Stoic, you're not responsible for soothing their jealousy or dimming your light to ease their discomfort. Your task is to keep creating, keep shining, grounded in the virtue of your work. Envy reveals more about their pain than your worth. It's their mirror, not your flaw. Stoicism teaches us to respond with both wisdom and boundaries. You might reach out to your friend, sharing your journey's challenges to show success isn't effortless, inviting them to join you in creating something. But if their envy turns toxic, perhaps they criticize your work publicly or distance themselves entirely, protect your peace. Seneca advises, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Their resentment is rooted in their own imagined inadequacies, not your reality. Set boundaries calmly, perhaps limiting contact to neutral interactions without malice. You don't need to shrink your ambitions or apologize for your progress. Instead, focus on what you control: your effort, your integrity, your purpose. Let your podcast grow, not to prove them wrong, but to prove to yourself that virtue endures. This approach is the Stoic way: compassion without self-sacrifice. Understanding that envy stems from pain allows you to depersonalize their hostility. You see their sarcasm not as a verdict on your worth, but as a cry from their unhealed wounds. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Let your thoughts be of clarity and purpose, not the need to counter their jealousy. By continuing to create with authenticity, you offer an example of resilience, inspiring those ready to grow while releasing those trapped in resentment. Their envy cannot touch your virtue unless you let it. In a world where success stirs shadows, Stoic Pulse reminds us that true strength lies in staying true to your path. When envy casts you as the enemy, keep building, keep sharing, keep living with integrity. Their resentment is not your story to rewrite. Subscribe to Stoic Pulse for more Stoic rules to navigate life's challenges with resilience and wisdom. As we close this journey, reflect on how these 9 reasons, from societal pressures to envy, reveal others' struggles, not your truth. Comment inner peace below to mark this moment of clarity, and let's continue living the Stoic way, unshaken by silent storms. As we close this Stoic journey through the 9 hidden reasons for silent resentment, from societal pressures to the sting of envy, we see a profound truth. Others' hostility often reflects their inner struggles, not your reality. Whether it's the weight of unmet expectations, the pain of being unseen, or the mirror of your success, these tensions reveal more about their battles than your worth. Stoic Pulse has guided us through these shadows with the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, showing us how to walk with integrity, compassion, and resilience. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Let your thoughts be dyed with purpose, not the need for universal approval. Embrace those who see you clearly and release those who cannot, knowing your path is defined by virtue, not their perceptions. This exploration isn't about changing others, but mastering yourself. Staying steady when envy bites, clarifying misunderstandings with care, or standing firm in your values. Each step strengthens your inner freedom, a gift Stoicism offers in a world of noise. As you move forward, carry these Stoic rules. Focus on what you control, respond with clarity, and live authentically, even when it unsettles others. Stoic Pulse is here to guide you deeper into this philosophy, offering lessons to navigate life's challenges with calm and purpose. If this journey resonated, subscribe to Stoic Pulse for more Stoic wisdom to live with strength and peace. Comment inner peace below to mark this moment of reflection, affirming your commitment to the Stoic way. Thank you for joining me. Let's keep walking this path together, unshaken by silent storms.